So, okay, welcome one and all. Welcome back to Podcast with Neil, the MANC, especially after the Manchester Derby. We are hosting the first time, and it's the York Slangs Derby after a very, very long time in the Premier League. So, Marcelo Bielsa against Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, a master of the game versus an apprentice who's still learning, who's still there and thereabouts. Yeah, I know where you're going. I'm not Ole out yet. I'm still Ole in. So, with me for today's show, particularly building up to the Rose Derby or the Lancashire Yorkshire Derby, I have two very special guests. One of them is Mr. Varun Mani, and he was, and a bit talk, I'll talk about him a bit before I bring him on screen, is that he was highlighted by Premier League, the official Premier League handle, as a Leeds fan, and he was featured then. And it's an immense pleasure for me to host him, to host a Leeds fan. I didn't know any of them existed in India until Marcelo Bielsa's antics came in, because a lot of wannabe Bielsas in my friend list. But then again, I have also got MIHIR with me. I'm just bringing them on screen. MIHIR will be representing the United half of today. So welcome Varun, welcome MIHIR. I'm putting your mics on unmute. So thank you for joining Podcast with Neil. And I had to drag Varun and shoehorn
Thank
him
you.
in this schedule. So before that, before going on to the tactic, because this will be a bloody tactical show. But before going on to that startup, I just would like to hear the history, starting with Varun, the history of the Lancashire Yorkshire derbies featuring Manchester United and Leeds United. Have your say on this?
Uh, I don't know the exact political history about it. It's something to do with the War of the Roses, I think from the 1800s or something of that sort. And that rivalry has spilled onto the field, I think from the mid 60s all the way till the 90s when I think Manu lost the title to Leeds in 92. And Ferguson, I think that would have been Ferguson's maybe first title, and Leeds won that. And just historically, it's been an amazing rivalry between the two clubs. It's probably Leeds' largest rival. In fact, our name for Manu is Scum. So you know how deep the rivalries lie here. So I think it's going to be really interesting.
Absolutely. The rivalry is immense and going on by the Premier League table. Coming to Mihir, how are you getting prepared for the first Premier League in the modern in this decade that we are featuring to see Leeds United and Man United rivalry reignited? How do you feel? How excited are you?
Super excited, Neil. So these are the kind of matches you want to see and you want to experience. For the fans who are in England, they want to experience this. So playing the likes of Fulham, yeah, they can be competitive and they can give you a tough run. But then playing Leeds United in whatever shape they are is a different feel altogether. And like truly excited to see them back in Premier League, and that too with Marcelo Bielsa, which will give us tough competition. They won't be just it won't be just a walkover. In fact, I'm feeling quite jittery with the form that they are in. So great to see such matches with your strong rivals who have come back to the Premier League finally.
So moving over to Varun on this. Varun, I'd ask you, how did it feel to get featured by Premier League as an official Leeds fan? Just elucidate on that. We want to hear your journey.
No, so honestly, I didn't expect to be featured. Like the page. I never used to follow any of these Premier League pages because we haven't been there for a long time. And once Leeds came back, I started following the page, and I used to tag them a couple of times on like some Leeds related stats or stories. And I think they realized that I'm a Leeds fan from India, and so they invited me to do this. And like it was pretty chilled out. I got to speak from the heart, and in fact, the footage was probably like about an hour long, and they condensed into like about 3 or 4 minutes. So it was great fun. I think the best thing is that it got huge, massive shares on Twitter, and Leeds fans were really happy. Of course, some of them may know me, like a lot of them don't know me because like I'm one of the many fans around the world. But so many of them invited me to their homes. They offered to sponsor my stay. Some of them even started saying that we'll do a GoFundMe for you, like to buy you a flight ticket to Island Road, and we get you tickets. Everything is on us. So the response has been amazing. I think it's really special. You feel really welcome, and only through these things the bond grows with the club.
Absolutely heartwarming. Before and like the lead song, as we say, we keep on marching on. That has been a journey to savor. That has been an immense story. So just before we dive into the dirty side of things, I'm going to Mihir. Mihir, you have been a United fan. Tell me very bluntly, before today's podcast, have you seen or heard about any Leeds fan, except Varun because he's famous, he's a celeb right now? So except Varun, have you come across any Indian Leeds fans? I'm not talking about those Bielsa wannabes.
No, not at all. So, in fact, I was quite surprised that you have a podcast and you could find a Leeds fan for this podcast. So Varun,
No offense, Varun.
you're a rare category, Varun. So, keep going strong, and may you get more people along with you as a Leeds Indian Supporters Club.
Absolutely.
Thank
Just
you.
before those who are watching, I just hit 100 subs. Road to 200. I would appreciate a like on this video, and it would be amazing if you just put in a subscribe. Well, as I said, that I lost my job on the pandemic, and I started doing this full time because I love football and wanted to make a difference. And about making a difference is now coming over to Varun. Varun, I'm just highlighting a screen grab because we'll be talking about Bielsa ball, what Bielsa ball actually is. Highlighting a screen grab. This is from a match, probably from last season. You
Huddersfield.
just tell us about how, especially Marcelo Bielsa, we've seen him with Athletic Bilbao, how he loves overlaps and gegen pressing or counter pressing. What major coaches learn from him and talk about in their press conferences. But do you think that at this point of time, as they started the season very well, Leeds started a fantastic start to the season, outplaying Liverpool, in my opinion. And do you think that this overcommitting and overloading of the ball is actually harassing them on the back and conceding a few noobish goals, or if I may say?
Okay, so starting off with this still grab that you have, it was the last game where fans were allowed. This is somewhere in March, early March. It was against Huddersfield. And yeah, so with regards to what you just said or spoke about, I think so. You're probably right. Like in the championship, we didn't get caught out as much because we were more in control and our defenders could lap up any pressure that the opposition gave us in spite of our numbers, being caught a little more forward. But in the Premier League, there's so much individual quality in terms of individual skills, high caliber players that although these mistakes seem noobish, but this kind of attacking intent and the kind of way that Leeds are set up, I think if it wasn't for this kind of attacking play and the kind of movement that Leeds have, there's no way we'd be successful. So I think I'd rather sacrifice and rather concede a few noobish goals, things that to the naked eye might seem that they are easy to concede or they could be avoided. But I think I'd rather sacrifice a few goals than to sacrifice the style completely, because that's the kind of thing that makes the football so exciting. That's the kind of thing that's
Absolutely.
taken. So this entire, like 8 or 9 of these players from the starting lineup have been there at Leeds for almost 3 or 4 years. And before Marcelo Bielsa came, the same team finished 13 to 14 in the league, and they were like pretty average. And he's taken these guys and he's taken them to a level that even they themselves could not have ever imagined. So I'm happy to make sacrifices in terms of some loose goals conceded, but I would never want to give up the style. And it's kind of an eye-opening experience for me and others who watch Leeds, that there is a brand of football that believes in the more idealistic attacking sense that football should be an entertaining sport, and you shouldn't sacrifice your attacking principles for defensive ones.
Absolutely going on your anti Jose Mourinho vibe. Coming on to Mihir over here for a bit. Mihir, you can see that I'm putting you on top. You can see that this is taken from last season where Leeds were in the championship. How Robin Click is more important. Harrison has been extremely well playing this season. How Ailing tips a bit back, but with the addition of Rafinha, with the addition of your Rodrigo,
Rodrigo.
he has been this Leeds side has just transformed into an exponential force that United, whatever they are in the Premier League, me being a United fan, I'm actually scared of Leeds tonight. Your thoughts on this highlight?
Right. So Neil, as correctly said, so what I think of this Leeds side is Marcelo Bielsa is a system-driven coach rather than an individual-driven coach. So what he has transformed as a mid-table championship team into a club which actually outperformed Liverpool, who were the champions last season. So it is down to the system where he doesn't rely on the individual talents rather than the whole system, where even a subpar player just putting his heart out can easily fit into the system, and they create magic much above their potential. So that is the most key part of being a Marcelo Bielsa team. And Neil, I'm sure you also agree that heartbreaking loss against Ander Herrera led team in the Champions League was where our and that is the pain that we get reminded of when we are facing Leeds tonight. So that is the whole point of Marcelo Bielsa. Now, coming back to the negatives, as Varun was saying, all the successful coaches have always said that it is the defense that wins you titles and not your attack. And that is where I think Marcelo Bielsa has a shelf life at all the clubs that he goes to, because this giving more than 100% of your strength, of your stamina, will not continue for the whole season, where you have the FA Cups and the EFL Cups also to add, and the steam runs out somewhere. So that is where is the only critic of Marcelo Bielsa's style, is what I feel. But other than that, it's so exciting to watch, as Varun rightly said. I would rather watch or support a Bielsa team than a Jose Mourinho team, if I can say that, because at least I'm entertained while I'm watching a Bielsa team. So
Yes, yes,
that's my
absolutely.
thoughts.
Marcelo Bielsa has been phenomenal in the way of play, and we know that how Marcelo Bielsa lines up his team. But what concerns me today is both defenses have been shaky, and the amazing performances by United's defense, sarcasm intended, in this season. And just highlight a bit. I'm going over to Varun on this because we have heard United fans take on this. Like if we see this screenshot, I remember this match, this Owen Hargreaves and Tim Sherwood actually saying that the goal that Dean Henderson conceded, an own goal, a very a noobish goal, as I may say, that here in the sense, if you play Matic is saying Maguire to move. And you know, Varun, you know better than anyone how high Leeds press. And United have been so idiotic in their sense, like even when they see people pressing high, very high, they still play that short pass out back and gets caught in between. Do you think this is a tendency that Leeds will pick up on and United will keep on doing the same thing and will make us pay in today's match after like the full time?
Oh, it's a tough one. I think if Matic plays tonight, I think I'll be a little more happy to see that instead of maybe say Fred and McTominay and double pivot, because Matic is a bit slow. Like he's obviously a very intelligent and experienced, strong player as well. But I think someone like him could get caught out by the likes of, say, Marius Click, who's a hard presser. Bamford, Harrison also chase the ball, and Rafinha as well is also pretty quick. So I think if you all do play someone like Matic and tonight Leeds are going to be really on top of it, because they'll be really they're looking to get back into form, and it's an old rival, so they'll be totally up for it. They'll be giving 100%. And recently, it's been the trend with Man U is that you'll have been slow starters in the Premier League. You'll have got good results in spite of even coming back, instead of even going down early. But I think if Leeds, put up a if Man U starts slow again, and if you're not playing Matic as the defensive midfielder, I think there are chances for obviously Leeds to get caught. But the thing with Leeds is that when our attack breaks down, we have so many guys who are absent from the middle of the park. That if you have someone like say if Pogba plays and they decide to drop maybe Fred or to McTominay, one of them, I think Pogba and Fernandes will have a lot of space to work with in terms of putting the ball to the forward.
Now, I take your point. I take your point. But I have seen Marcelo Bielsa instructing their players, driving on their players for from minute 1 to minute 90 or minute 100, whatever the match goes on. So coming back to Mihir, United, whenever a team, even last season, I have seen that the likes of Southampton, where we were overrun in midfield, even the likes of Sheffield, this very last match, we were completely dominated at one point until we got hold of the game and Marcus put the game to bed. But at even that point of time, we know that these teams are going. Sevilla had Leipzig. The errors are recurring so much. I'll just put up a screenshot that I took on the Southampton match. Like you see, even when United are so left side oriented at this point of time, Fernandes has to play out wide a lot of times to compensate that lack of a naturally gifted right winger in our squad. And it is very easy to counter United at this point of time. Meet, I would just want to ask you that is high pressing you high press against United and you win the match? Is it a trending cause?
Yes, it looks like, Neil. So if the trend suggests something, then it is that you can press United out of the game. But what we have seen is that United seem to be taken aback by the press sometimes, and the only thing is then United do concede if a team like Southampton or Leeds is tonight, where they press high and they press the defensive mids and the defenders of United, then United do get caught out there and do concede goals. But then the whole point is how United bounces back. Unfortunately, that has been the season so far, where it is about when we concede and then when do we try to come back in the game. So if that has been the story, then with Leeds, the only comforting factor that I have is that their defensive fragilities are also to be there to be seen. So even if we do concede with the Leeds press, I have my full confidence in Leeds defense that we can score one or two goals ourselves. So that is the only comforting factor. But other than that, yes, United seem to be falling apart when there is a high press deployed against them, and that is a worrying factor that Ole has not been able to work out, and that is something that although I'm not an Ole out but that is something that Ole needs to work surely upon, and it has been 2 years at this club and we have not seen a solution against that.
Okay, we have a question for Varun from one of our viewers. Varun, can you talk for 2 minutes about your journey as a football fan supporting Leeds in India? Easy or difficult? Just a snapshot. We had that actually in the start of the show, but Varun will again repeat for you. Won't you, Varun? Okay, my phone has gone. No, I'm back.
So it's been tough because when Leeds went down, I didn't get to watch their games for like 5 or 6 years, and like I think I'm a pretty loyal person, so I didn't ever feel like supporting anyone else. So I used to on back in the day on soccernet.com, there used to be this thing called Gamecast or something where there would be like a 2D screen, and every time a shot would be taken by a team, there would be like a green dot. If there was a goal, there'd be a red dot. So I would like spend, like 2 hours on a Saturday looking at the screen, and I would read those updates from BBC of F365. And once in a while there'd be radio commentary that I would listen to, and it was pretty hard because you're not watching the match. So I would watch a Premier League game on mute, and I would listen to the commentary of Leeds. And honestly, it's been damn tough because it's not like Leeds did well in the Championship; they were pretty crappy, and they in fact even went on to League One, which became even more tough. Luckily, we were pretty decent in League One, and in spite of two playoff losses, we came back in the third attempt. So it's not been easy. In the last 4 years, it's been much better. I think because 10 Sports had taken the rights of the championship, and I saw every game in 2016 and 17 as well. And then obviously 18, 19, a lot of streams, illegal streams, became available, and it's been much easier. the last 4 or 5 years. But yeah, like I'm always active on the message boards and stuff like that. So it's been fun. It's always been amazing. It's good to be unique because then like people remember you and stuff. So and like those tattoos I have and all, like they kind of help as well sometimes.
Yeah, we saw that in that video that Premier League actually made, and it's an amazing journey to stand out in the crowd, to be a pack, to be following that road not taken. As the poet inside me screams, but we'll stick to football for a bit. I'm continuing with you, Varun, on the next topic that, as you highlighted very efficiently, that how important it is for Fred and McTominay to start. So I'm just bringing on the screen again, Fred and McTominay, because very firstly, if I point out, against Sheffield, they were rested because they would be needing on the 200% to actually very, if I would play it very lightly, that if you make Fernandes run back, that United team's outball is gone, that playmaking is gone, and you have completely nullified United. Like when United took off Fernandes from the Sheffield match, we conceded one, and there was very sloppy errors on the midfield. Paul Pogba, I don't think will start. It's these two. So considering that Fred and McTominay, the dynamic duo, how they start, they press, they tackle, they don't leave any stone unturned. How concerning is it for a Leeds fan to see these two in the starting lineup together?
Yeah, so honestly, I would rather have Pogba and Fernandes starting than have these two starting, behind Fernandes because, as you rightly said, the work rate needs to be exceptionally high. This season, not one team has outrun Leeds at all. And
Absolutely.
although I think Pogba is a good trainer, he's physically fit and all, I'm not really sure about his defensive work, nor am I sure of Fernandes' defensive or contributions as well. So, but the thing with Fred is that he's pretty mobile. He has good feet as well. So with the man-to-man system that we play, I think if he's able to dribble his way out of a tight situation, that has a lot of opportunities for them to pass the ball out to Fernandes or to one of the wingers. So yeah, and McTominay's work rate is exceptionally high. I think he's going to be a really important. I mean, and he's also his stamina and stuff is pretty good. So I think with them two, there would make more sense in this game than to have Pogba and Matic instead of these.
Absolutely. And McTominay would be even charged up. Okay, Mihir, sticking with the same topic with you. Uh, as Varun said that he would like to, as a United fan or a United manager, would like to seek to play a diamond. But I had one observation that I might want to commend you on is that Fred, whenever he plays at the base of the diamond or as a defensive midfielder, he's always caught out. He plays very well when he plays high up, where he can make the high press, where he can box out the triangles, when he can initiate the counter press with Fernandes, because that's what was lacking in the Leipzig match, where United were outrun in midfield. So I would be very surprised if Fred was started just ahead of the defense, because that creates commotion or chaos. He's very afraid to make those challenges because he knows if he misses one, he's gone. It's gone. So do you think it would be advisable to start with the diamond, or United go with the acceptable 4-2-3-1 as they have gone with throughout the course of the season or throughout Ole's career?
Yeah, with Leeds, not at all. No diamond at all, please. With Leeds and with Fred at the base of the diamond, I'm really scared. That's a recipe for disaster. Fred needs the support of McTominay or Matic, and McTominay the preferred choice because of the work rate. As we saw against Chelsea, I think Chelsea showed us how to really put Leeds into a corner and how to excel against them. You need to match their work rate. It's very difficult for all teams to do that, and Chelsea has a motivated young team to put in the lungs and the heart into the running. But with McTominay, Fred, Bruno also, what I have seen is they are not afraid to really put in the press, counter press, and they have the lungs to run 90 minutes, and they are the only ones which this trio is the only one which can hopefully stop Leeds midfield with their high press.
These
But
three actually are trusted by Ole the most.
sorry.
These three are trusted by Ole the most. You see any big match, these three are first teams on the
Yes,
team sheet.
yes, and it is kudos to Leeds that we are talking of Leeds as a big match. If you understand what I mean to say. So yeah, Leeds have
Varun
come.
is going mad.
It's a big match. Ask any fan, they'll tell you that it's the Manu fan also is the biggest. Ferguson said that the hatred and the atmosphere that he felt at Elland Road, it doesn't match any other stadium that he stepped in.
Right,
It's
right.
it's a huge game. Maybe not
Yeah,
for fans who like recently started watching football and all, but historically it's a massive game.
right, of course. And that's what I said in the starting, right? These are the games that you want rather than the non-Fiesta ones. So glad Leeds are back.
And talking about motivation and all, I'm just going over to the one factor that one player that seems to lack motivation in a United squad is Paul Pogba. So without much wasting much time on a person wasting his time at United, Varun, your thoughts on the whole Paul Pogba Mino Raiola situation. But before that, I would just want all of you to give 1 minute of silence for Arsenal because Arteta is the prodigal son of Pep Guardiola and Ole is as well as a PE teacher. So Arsenal fans, if you're still watching, this is better than AFTV. Do drop a subscribe. I'll bring you better content than DT dropping his own phone and buying a new one with the money he's gotten out of your misery. So okay, Varun, back to you. Pogba.
Pogba is a tough one. Like I think Ferguson probably got it right when he didn't start him for all those games, even though he needed someone at the time to come into the midfield with an aging character and stuff like that. But I think he generally gets it right with judging the character of people and the kind of output that he might expect. So I think like it's a huge disappointment. I think Pogba's probably he's won the World Cup and all, I guess, and he's won Scudettos. But I think he's not found the right manager or he's not found the right person who can like motivate him in the way that he needs to because apparently he's a very good trainer and his physique and stuff is like it's like he's really fit and it's like he's like of course he's extremely talented. But I think if for some reason it's not really worked out for him. I think it's best if he goes at the end of the season. I think the attention and all that stuff that's around him, it kind of distracts from the other players and all of that. I think that the wages
Had
are better
actually enough
spent. Spent.
had actually enough of him and his agent, to be very honest. And talking about what's gone wrong, let's just shift over to actually what's gone right. This man, Bruno Fernandes, this is the heart and embodiment and the soul of what Manchester United go through. Like Mihir, I would just stick with you on a bit. Like I was hearing a Frank Lampard press conference, an old YouTube video where he says Paul Pogba is exceptionally gifted. With if you compare him and Frank Lampard as a player in the Jose Mourinho Paul Pogba era, this was taken, and he said he said very abruptly that Paul Pogba makes very bad decisions when it comes into midfield. He's good with his feet and all on the turn with the dribble, but when Paul Pogba gets hold of the ball, he fancies the dribble, he fancy feet, and he loses the ball way too often for a Premier League game. And without wasting much time, Bruno Fernandes has gotten into the squad and shown how to play a number 10 with his quick passes, with his pressing, with his exemplary vision and goals, and as well as what we expected the most, a leadership from Paul, which the armband is rightly to be his at any point of time soon. So your thoughts on whether this Bruno, it is if it is actually Bruno, if it was Martial FC last season, and if it is Bruno Chester United now.
Okay, so yeah, this is a very hot debate amongst the United fans. I wouldn't stop myself from calling it Bruno Chester United because this guy deserves it. Now, coming back to your comparison of Bruno with Pogba, and as Lampard said, I think it's not because ability-wise, nobody would doubt Pogba's ability because he has shown it to the world, be it in his early days at Juventus or be it with France, right? It is all down to if a player is not motivated, any amount of ability is not going to cover for it. And sadly, as Varun was also saying, that Ferguson got it right. Now, if you compare it, a similar player who wasn't completely motivated at United was Romelu Lukaku, and once Ole came in, he let him go. And once we saw the Lukaku's performance at Inter, many United fans turned against Ole that why was Lukaku being let go? And look at him now, and you are struggling for a striker. But then, what's the point of a not motivated player just running around in your squad and not contributing to his full potential? Let the player go. Let him realize his potential elsewhere. Be happy for him. So I think Pogba is a very similar case. No one doubts his ability. If he is if he has the desire to play and put his heart out, he can do so. He was a very critical element in France's win at the World Cup, and nobody can deny that. So if he wants to play, if he wants to, if his heart is there, I think he's tremendously talented, and he can be the same as Bruno. But then if his heart is not here, then as well get rid of him. So yeah, coming back to Bruno, yeah, I think Bruno deserves to be the talisman, and he truly
The
defines
Magnifico.
what a talisman is. Rather, if you have to explain to a child, just show him a United match and tell him that this is Bruno and this is what talisman is. So he's running his lungs out. He's the chief creator, and he's shouting at players. So he's the leader on the pitch. So he's got everything. So really, to snatched him from other clubs. So it's a great buy for us.
Very, very lucky break. Okay, Varun, I just how United we've spoken about how United get through, and we've spoken about how United's defense falters. But let's just have a look at how Leeds defend and all. And if I just show you this screen grab, okay, this one, you can see they like United. They often let go of their third mans. They very much let go of their third mans. Like one creeping in from the far post of a ball. This was crossed in. This was against the last match against Newcastle, the one you guys won 5-2, and that guy scored. And this has been a recurring trend. Like Mead said with Chelsea, they showed the pattern that a team needs to play in order to box Leeds. But isn't this too recurrent to be not noticed by fellow managers and construct game plans based on this? Your thoughts?
So yeah, this goal basically started off with like a really poor, block from the cross, and at the near post, Ayling missed his header. We're really poor in the air. I think our tallest player who's currently playing is probably 6'1", Bamford who's 6'3". But we have two centre backs out right now, Llorente and Robin Koch. Robin Koch is out for 3 months. But you see that at the far post with that tap in that he has, the left back is not actually a left back. He's a left winger. Ali was not a left back as well. So if the first if the flick on or something is successful by the opposition, it's been a few times and more than once that the left back Ali Oski, who is not actually a defender, he's not switched on to the situation as maybe a more efficient defender would be. But yeah, it's been very easy. Newcastle very created anything all game. They had no possession, and yet they scored two very soft goals. I think our emphasis is so based on attacking that at times I think the mentality of the team is like they forget that they have to stay switch on in these times. And the other one was a corner, and we all know that Leeds are really horrible at corners. They're absolutely dreadful. I think we've conceded 4 or 5 goals now just from corners, which is for any other team would be troubling. But since we create a lot more than other teams, I think we've been able to get by with results. But if we were a team who couldn't create at all and then we were still conceding with corners, I think we'd be at the bottom. Like we'd be probably ahead of Sheffield, but we'd be in the relegation zone.
Yeah, that's the beauty of the Premier League, that how we have seen. And I just want to go on to the attacking side of things. Like, I'm sticking with you, Varun, on this because I want to hear your thoughts personally because I don't follow Leeds that much. And this was a brilliant overlapping run. That touch by Holding is your left. Holding is that your left back? I'm getting the name confused. Harrison. Not Harrison.
Oh.
Harrison with a wonderful cross. Yes, he put in a wonderful left peg of a wonderful cross, and here is your striker or forward knitting it in. And this time, this exemplifies how Leeds are brilliant on their counter attacks. Like the overloads that they create, like I'm run out of words. Like we saw the same against United when Spurs were overlapping their fullbacks. But if I just highlight to this is their actual style of play, where the centre backs and the defensive midfielders, those inside runs that have seen Pep Guardiola master, those in underlapping fullbacks. Leeds use it exceptionally. So Varun, thoughts on this? That how United are sloppy with dealing crosses and letting go of strikers and the marking, the whole aspect of our defending. I don't have any more words to actually justify that. So do you think this will be again a feature in today's match on both ends, because you guys are even shipping in goals for the same?
True. So in terms of our attack, Leeds' attack, the underlapping runs are extremely important because you rarely see our wingers get outnumbered at the wings, and there's always either Click or Rodrigo or even the fullback who's making this closer towards the right hand side or left hand side of the penalty box, making an underlapping run to
Mhm.
try and find space. So obviously that's a little risky because if your two midfielders are also making underlapping runs, I think if the attack breaks down, that plays perfectly in the Manu's hands for a counter. So yeah, so like as I said, Leeds' entire play is based on what attack, win with attacking play, and defend also from the front. So it doesn't matter how many goals opposition scores, we have to try and outscore them. And we're always making so the reason why people talk about this apparent burnout or the fatigue aspect is because it's very difficult, like in the Premier League, to make space because everyone is so fit, everyone's so tactically astute with all the analysts and the coaching staff and all of that, and the stakes which are so high.
As well as the
These,
squad depth. As well as the squad
yeah,
depth.
yeah, the players involved, they're much more attuned to how to play the game than maybe years ago. But so there's very difficult to make space, and they're constantly moving. They're always finding space. They make it look easy. So when people talk about Leeds conceding goals, it's a bit, it's a bit confusing. It's a bit, I'd say, irritating also because the kind of effort that they make to create those chances itself, that's like the whole game itself. Like the number of chances the Leeds make, it might look easy on the eye. The amount of effort, the amount of tactical work that goes into that, and it's a whole mentality thing. So yeah, so the underlapping runs and all of that, making constant space, and you never see a Leeds player isolated. Always have one or two options of passes next to them, and that's the beauty of Master of the Bielsa being a coach.
Like he's the master of them all. Okay, quick question from Saurabh. Saurabh, thanks for joining in the stream. A subscribe would be amazing, and I hope you join us to the race to 200 that we are making. Quick question for Mihir: what's the priority for Man United? A backup right back or a center back?
I think it is a centre back because we do have Diogo Dalot on loan, and we do have Fosu Mensah as a backup. But yeah, a right centre back would be the top priority right now, and
Upamecano?
I would put that below a right-sided winger as my top priority.
If I go on about Jadon Sancho, this podcast will not end because I've been raving on and on how United have been left so much left-sided and United have been so much disorganized when it comes to switching play. Mainly because Wan Bissaka is playing as a right winger as well as a right back that he does not get that space to operate because we are
Right.
so much pushed in triangles into boxes on the left pattern of play. Okay, so all the tactical nuances aside, it's time for the real deal predictions. Varun, starting with you. How do you
I
think the match is gonna end up?
I think there'll be a lot of goals. I think Manu y'all are pretty susceptible to teams which move really well and make a lot of off the
Mhm.
ball runs and stuff like that. So, and judging by the trend, which is an apparent trend that Manu start games slowly and Leeds are the complete opposite. They start on the front foot and they go hard, and then maybe they get a little tired. I don't know, but I don't know if that's true or not. But the fact that Leeds can score like early goals, I think if Leeds get the first goal, like if the first 20 minutes or so if it goes Leeds' way, then I think Leeds will win. But I think if we keep attacking it the first 20 minutes, we're not able to score a goal. I think Manny would grow into confidence and with players which are so brilliant, like individually, so like Rashford and stuff, and even Marshall is class, and obviously Fernandes. I think if we don't do well for the first 20-25 minutes, I think we often have an easy game. But my prediction for this game is that it'll be a lot of goals. My heart is obviously saying like 4-2 lead or something like that, but I think it'll be maybe a 2-all game or something like that. It's a tough one.
Mihir,
I really can't
how
predict. I
Varun?
don't want to predict also.
We couldn't get you.
So yeah, it's a tough game. I wouldn't want to predict it because I don't want to jinx it. But in my heart, I really like. I think this is a game we have to win. We have to win this one.
Mihir, how Varun said that United don't actually start well and how Leeds United actually moves well as a unit. But with their zonal marking set of players, you cannot just stop Rashford's runs because he makes those runs so brilliantly, like cutting in from the left and moving across the centre back. It is impossible to stop. And
Right.
if Lindelof or Maguire get those long balls right at one point of time, they're bound to create chances and Leeds is going to be conceding goals at any point of time. As would you go with the same 2-2 prediction, or would you go for actually a clean sheet for United in this match?
Well, clean sheet with our defense, Neil, would be a dream. But yeah, with the current defense form, it's difficult. And then Leeds will create their chances. Now it's down to the finishing of Leeds as to whether they score a goal against United or not. Because I'm pretty sure with the style of Leeds and United's defense fatalities, Leeds are going to get chances to score. Now it's up to Leeds striker and their finishing ability, whether they get goals or not. My prediction is similar to Varun. There'll be a lot of goals because both that's a leaky defense versus a leaky defense, and it's a very attack minded team versus a not so defensive team, if I can call United. So then, yeah, it's gonna be a at least 2 goals a piece, and then maybe United to win it 3-2, maybe.
Now, before judging up the end of the conclusions, I would just say that Leeds United had a very difficult onset against, even though they scored 5 goals, they ran their boots off against Newcastle, while United got the liberty of benching Fred and McTominay, who has to be, in my opinion, fundamental if Man United stand any chance against Leeds at this point of time. Bruno will do the damage. But if you both ask me, I think this is edging towards a draw, because even I think this is going to be a 2-2 game, because you cannot see these two teams not conceding goals. But at the same point of time, these two teams are so much brilliant. Bamford, your Rodrigo, Rafinha has been one of my favorites in the Leeds team because his trickery and all. I see a Di Maria in there. And United, if they get going, if they get on song, there are rare teams in world football that can stop that pace of an attack. And I hope that it's going to be a very good match. And I hope all of you are watching. Do drop in a subscribe. We are rushing towards that 200, and I need all of your support. So I would like to extend my thanks to Varun. Varun, just
Thank you.
before I release you to your chores at the end of I know you made time for me, and that I'm extremely grateful. Who do you think the man of the match is going to be? One word, man of the match. Okay, Varun has gone. Okay, Varun is back.
Sorry.
Whom do you think is going to be the man of the match for today?
I think today is a game that is set up for Rashford. As you said, the marking system which these have, that's basically man-to-man marking system. His pace, his power, his trickery up against the right back, which is Dallas. I think Dallas is also pretty forward-minded. And against Ealing, who's not a regular centre back. I think Rashford will be your main man today. I think he'll score at least 1 or 2.
Mihir, your man of the match for today?
I would say Bruno. Very predictable answer, but yeah, I think with
You
Leeds
do have him on your FPL team, right? Don't lie. Don't
as
lie.
as captain, bro, as captain. So no, but honestly, I think with the Leeds press that is going to be there, I don't see any other creative player who would have the tricks to beat that press and create chances. Yes, Rashford and Marshall and Greenwood might be on the end of those chances, but I think the chief creator would not surprisingly be Bruno.
Okay, that's pretty much all.
Sorry,
I hope Cavani starts.
I just want to add one thing.
Hmm.
I only spoke about Rashford, but for Leeds, I think I'm really excited to see what Rafinha will do today. I think he's gonna have a good game.
He's mercurial. He's mercurial. He's exciting to watch. And I hope that Cavani starts today, because we need him up front. And how Leeds are adept at defending zonally, they pretty much fudge up the aerial part of things. And I hope we get into the sort of things today. It's going to be a very tricky match. It starts at 10 o'clock. So thank you, Varun, for your time. Do leave a subscribe on this channel,
Thank
and
you.
I would like to see you very soon, because Leeds have a lot of matches coming up. Thank you, Miri, for joining in at the last moment.
Thank you,
Cheers to
Neil.
you, and we hope that Bruno can give you 40 odd points today
That would be
with that captain armband in FPL. Thank you, Varun. Thank you, Mihir. Cutting off you
Thank
from the
you.
screen
Nice to
now.
meet you, Mihir.
Let's hope for a good match. Let's hope for a good match. Bye for now.
Good luck.
Cheers. So thanks to both of them. Was an enthralling discussion, if I must say. So if you're still watching, do leave a subscribe. I'm rushing towards 200, and this has been a difficult setup. Netflix football has been my brainchild, and I want to do something for Indian football. So if you're all interested, just drop a subscribe. You do support your local lads. Come on, do support your local lads. And it has been a very interesting thing to start it because, as I said earlier, the pandemic has been cruel to all of us. I lost my job in the pandemic. I know all bullshit and stuff, but I wanted to do something for football as a United fan. That has kept me sane all this while, and that has kept me not doing bad things and enduring what Maguire does on the pitch every day. But at the same moment of time, this has been fun interacting with lots of different people, coming to know lots of different people. Special thanks to Chirantan who has helped me, to Kunal, as well as birthday wish to Abhishek. Abhishek da, happy birthday, and hope to see you soon. If you want me to do any tactical analysis of any video, if the Leeds match and United match go on hand in hand, I'll come live with a tactical demonstration of where the game was won and lost. I love them. Bring me to 1,000 subscribers first so that I can buy a webcam and I can do the stuff, and I can do this pretty much more engaging because, as you can see, I have to use Windows Photo Viewer and PowerPoint for my descriptions. So that's pretty much about it. This is your boy Podcast with Neil. Predictions from me. Again, I would want United to win, but I still see that a draw wouldn't be such a bad set of results considering the fixture congestion, considering there will be ups and downs in the table for so long. So still, for of you are watching, do leave a like on this video, and a subscribe is a must. Ring the notification bell if you want to see me, if you want to hear me live. I know I'm ugly. I'll bring better people next time, promise. Not Maguire. His defending is uglier than mine. So with that in mind, I hope today is a good match, and let's see if United, because this is a Manchester United show, and we need to win those matches. Come on, that second spot is up for grabs, and we're not going to lose out. We're not going to lose out. So that's my time. Not like a comedian. That's my time. I'm your host, Neil. This is Podcast with Neil. The MANC will be back soon tomorrow. I'm hosting Mohun Bagan Mariners base camp at 6:30, just before the Mohun Bagan Bengaluru FC crunch match. Do join in on there, and that would be amazing. It was amazing hosting Varun. MIHIR came on at the last time, and that's pretty much about it. Thank you. Do drop a subscribe, would mean a lot, and love you all, folks. Thank you for the love you've been showing me. That's pretty much about it. I've said that 3 times, trust me. So this is your boy Neil, bidding you goodbye for now. Tada.